One shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the NBL1 show thanks to Coles Express. I'm Megan Hustwaite, very happy to have Pete Hooley back at the desk after the baby moon. Did you have a nice time away?
Did in Noosa. It was gorgeous. The weather was unbelievable up there. A lot of AFL players on their bye week who were up there. Saw a lot of them at the surf club, but came back here. Everyone was talking about how cold Melbourne was. I didn't believe them, but this is inhumane. Like, I know we're wearing beanies, but it's for a special cause, but they're glued to my head now because it is freezing here.
It is so cold, but we've got our Fight M&D beanies keeping us warm. Of course, the big freeze is at the G on Monday for Fight M&D, and apart from being a great cause, they keep your noggin very warm, Pete.
Oh, I love it. It's one of my favourite beanies. I wear number 5, I think I've got, but I get every single one of them. It's a great cause. Neil Danaher, one of the most inspirational men you'll see and find, and I love the cause, love seeing all the slides. So it's always special to feel a little bit a part of it, and I think that's what the beanies do really well.
And it's a cause close to NBL1's heart, and we're going to dedicate this show this week to Bree Watman and her family. Bree plays for Kilsyth and lost her mum Christine to M&D a few weeks ago. So we send our love and sympathy to Bree and her family. But I really love this at the weekend, and it shows how great our basketball community are. So Kilsyth wore blue Fight M&D socks in their games, and then Eltham, Diamond Valley, Ringwood and Sandringham wore blue armbands for Christine. So it's a lovely touch, and I guess it shows that these causes and initiatives are always close to our hearts in some way.
Well, they are, and again, where this has started to where it's got now, it's such a national cause, and every sport, everyone's touched in some way. So it's a really special thing to see, and it's also special. This is what the basketball community in Australia does, and especially the NBL1 being that national competition, it makes your heart feel nice, and it's only going to continue to get better.
Yeah, it's what we do best. And of course, the beanies, if you haven't grabbed them, you can get them at Coles. Of course, that's where I got mine, Bunnings or online. So make sure you do that for a great cause. Let's get into the show now because we've got plenty of action to discuss. We're going to start with Central Men. West had a bye this weekend, so they had theirs because they had the long weekend in WA a week before everyone else. Usually they're a week behind.
Oh, I'm not sure what WA's doing. It's almost like they want to be their own country. We won't get into that. But yeah, Central Men. Now, tell you what, Forestville Eagles in the Central Men's Division, they are absolutely loaded with talent, and they're starting to show that on the basketball court. Adelaide 36, Daniel Johnson, he is tearing up the Central Conference. They had 2 wins. He had 24 and 11 against the West Adelaide Bearcats, followed it up with 27 and 17 against North. They're now 6-3, and they are not only just winning these games, they are dominating these games. If you want to beat the Forestville Eagles, you're going to have to play well every single second you're out there.
Well, they're so good, they're so consistent, lots of contributors, but when you've got DJ, and he's one of your great mates, putting up numbers like that, it can be very hard to stop.
I was supposed to play with DJ back in 2009 for South Adelaide in this competition, and he had a game with 45 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists and 12 blocks. This is kind of just the thing he does. He goes out there, he's very nonchalant, just does his thing, but it doesn't just stop there. They've got Greg Mays, Adam Doyle, they are absolutely loaded.
Stacked.
Jack Purchase signed there, so they're going to be tough to beat.
Hey, I'm surprised you haven't mentioned National Final, because surely that's on your mind with them.
I would. It'd be very hard to see them not being in a national competition, but when that is timed with a pre-season of Adelaide 36ers, it'll be interesting. But the Woodville Warriors, they still only lost 1 game. They had 6 scorers in double figures as well against Sturt on Sunday. But Player of the Week, no surprise, Daniel Johnson.
No shocks there. Let's talk Central Women. And New Mexico Lobos alumni Jaden De La Cerda scored 27 points and had 7 assists in the Southern Tigers win over the Mavericks. Pete, tell me about Forestville.
Well, they went 1-1 over the weekend. Their standout, Sam Simmons, she had 21, 5 and 4 in the first game, followed it up with 25, 10 and 5 in a 31-point win over North Adelaide. So some good times right now at Forestville. They didn't play at home, but I'm sure Wayville's going to start to rock a little bit in the Eagles camp. So no surprises there with our Player of the Week. Double Forestville flavour in our Player of the Week from the Central.
Like that. Sammy coming off her debut WNBL season with Adelaide. The Lightning have got a new coach in Nat Hurst, which is really exciting. We talk every week about the platform NBL1 can lay for our WNBL and NBL players, and I just get the feeling it's going to be a big year, really, not just this season, but a WNBL campaign for Sammy.
Well, it is, and especially for the Adelaide Lightning, bit of a soft spot, obviously being an Adelaide boy, but I used to do my pre-high school individuals workouts with Nat Hurst, so I'm really excited to see what happens there. Learn a lot from her, loved watching the way she played, so it's going to be an exciting time. And on the men's side, Adelaide 36ers fans should be a little bit excited with all the buzz that's going. So Adelaide, turning things on in the off-season.
No player in 43 seasons of the WNBL has won more championships than Nat Hurst.
Well, there you go. And there's a good reason for that. She was an
She's
absolute
a gun. Speaking of guns, they were all on display in South Women's at the weekend. We had so many NBL1 players turn out for the Opals in the friendlies against Japan, but they were back in NBL1 at the weekend and on show in the big game between the Supercats and the Miners.
Well, they were. Sarah Blitzarv, she had 33 points and 17 rebounds in a 5-point win over the Miners. Young star Opal's energy spark, Jade Melbourne, she had 16 points, 17 rebounds, and this was a fun game.
So fun. So many stars on display in that rivalry between Geelong and Ballarat, Geelong and Bendigo, Ballarat and Bendigo. It's real, the regional rivalry.
I can tell you what, as being part of it, the Ballarat and Geelong rivalry is real. We had 3 or 4 players thrown out in a game a few years ago in the old Minor Dome, and this is exactly what they want. The crowd shows up for it. It's always a tough battle, and it's what we're starting to see.
Now, the Pioneers have won 2 games over the weekend, winning 5 straight. They're currently 9-1. They shouldn't be the sleeping giant because they're sitting pretty at the top of the ladder, but they are killing it.
Well, they are on both sides. The women are putting on some sort of display. Really excited to chat to our next guest because it was only a few years ago that there wasn't a women's team in Mt Gambier, and now they're not just making up the numbers, but they are putting the competition on notice. Can't wait to have a chat with her.
Well, Mt Gambier are top of the ladder. One of their stars joins us on the show this week. Welcome from Mt Gambier, Cass Brown.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, we were just talking about the weather. It's something Pete and I love to do. You are from Canada, but you're in Mt Gambier. How cold is it over there at the moment?
How cold is it? I think it's about like 8 degrees, somewhere around there today. So yeah, the weather changes here quite often, so you never really know what you're going to get.
Well, 8 degrees in Mt Gambier sounds like a beautiful summer's day. Now, let's talk a little bit about the way that your season's going so far. A lot of wins coming, and it looks like it's a fun place to play.
It has been. Honestly, I think that really is what's making us so successful is we really are having fun on the court out there, and you can see that, and it's really translating to our success.
Tell us a bit about your individual form. You're leading your team in points per game, blocks, and second in rebounds. What have you been impressed with your own form to date?
Thanks. Yeah. Honestly, I just feel like our offense, Matt just puts us all in positions to really be successful. And what's really special about our team is we're all very selfless. And I think you can see that on the floor. We really have great chemistry together on and off the floor, and that's definitely translating.
Now, give me a little insight on Matt's coaching. Now, I've known Matt a long time. Has he had a couple of big sprays? Is he someone who gets really fired up if things aren't going the right way?
No, honestly, Matt is like one of the chillest coaches I've ever had in my life. He's super like calm, cool, and collected at all times. And I think all of us really feel that he just really trusts us on the floor and gives us a lot of freedom. And I think that's what really makes us successful.
We love seeing the highlights a couple of weeks ago when Shaq Riley scored the winning 3 for you guys against Geelong. Tell us a bit about her, what it's been like playing alongside her. We've seen her in the WNBL before, but she looks to be having a great season.
Oh yeah, she is for sure. I think what makes our team really special is that anyone in our starting 5 could go off for 30 on any given night. We have a lot of talent. Everyone can shoot the ball. Everyone's very aggressive. So having that many great players surrounded by you, it just makes it really easy to play with.
Now, you've played at a high level, played all around the world. The Ice House, it's a unique place. Mt Gambier is a small town, but when they turn out, that place can get really loud. How have you enjoyed playing at the Ice House?
It's so much fun. The atmosphere there is just so great. Everyone really loves basketball in the community here, and you can really feel that, and it makes it a very special place to play. Like if you go out for a coffee in the morning, somebody has been there at the game or is watching, and I think everyone really loves to come out and just support.
Well, there's a reason you'd love to be supporting Mt Gambier right now, because not only are you flying, the men's team is flying as well. So you're starting to feel that whole community feels there's a lot of special reason to be following the Pioneers this season.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a fun place to play. The guys are doing great, and yeah, it's fun because I don't think anybody really expected that from either of us this season. So just to be able to really start from the bottom and work our way up, it's been a fun ride so far.
Now, Cass, you came to Australia with a lot of experience under your belt internationally. You've been part of the Canadian national team, particularly in 2019. Has that sort of been the highlight of your career, representing your country?
I mean, definitely, it's always a feather in your cap to be able to wear your country across your chest and play for Canada. So that definitely is one of the highlights of my career.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about, it'll be hard for you to maybe answer this question, but it wasn't so long ago that there was no women's team in the Mt Gambier competition, and they had to make one, and you talk about building it up, but that's probably one of the reasons why the community is getting behind this women's program, because you guys, where it started, do you feel that, have people spoken to you about how special this is to see where you've come from no team to building a team to struggling for a little bit to now being a genuine championship contender?
Yeah, it's super exciting not having, just being a new team out here. Definitely in the community, you can feel that the people love to be able to come out and watch the girls as well as the men. So I think that that's really special.
Well, it is special and it's exciting because you are legitimately a championship contender. We thank you so much for joining us. And as we mentioned a little bit before we started recording, perfect signing, you in Mt Gambier coming from Canada, because you said that 8 degrees feels okay. It's not too cold. We've spoken to imports in the past who can't stand it. So it's a perfect signing because you enjoy that and you're balling out. Thank you so much for joining us and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Also in South women's action at the weekend, Casey had 2 big wins new in the competition this year, and they've got an Olympian in the side. Abby Bishop made her debut. Great to have another player with international experience. She's got plenty of that in NBL1.
Well, it is exciting for Casey, who on the men's side got another recent signing, which we're about to talk about. But always good to see players like Abby Bishop coming back in and will no doubt really tear up this league once she starts going.
Now, we talk about heels on this show. Usually it's Shyla, but Tess Hill has been killing it for the Melbourne Tigers, who had a narrow win over Kilsyth. She's a young gun, and again, we talk about the platform this competition lays. She was part of the Melbourne Boomers squad, but when you've got a bright future, it's a pretty good place to be putting up big numbers.
Well, it is exactly right. That's what the NBL1 does. It gives you that confidence, that opportunity to be seen, and if you play well and you're playing with confidence, you're going to get opportunities, and that's exactly what the NBL1's good for.
Well, speaking of opportunities, a superstar is taking his at Casey. Tell me about it, Pete.
Well, a former Australian teammate of mine, Mango Mathiang, he's playing for Casey. He's made it known that now he's healthy again, coming off an injury, wants a chance in the NBL, and I have no doubt that teams will be lining up to get his signature. He had 29 points, 8 rebounds in their first game, 18 and 5 in their next game. He is a stud. Looking forward to seeing what he does the rest of this year. Frankston, Lockie Barker, huge round 7, had 33 and 7 against Mt Gambier and 31 and 4 against Dandenong, but lost both of these games. And look, if Frankston, they're expected to be competing for a title. I still think they will do that. They are loaded with talent and elite talent at that, very well coached. But it just shows the depth of the men's competition. It is going to be wide open. There is some really tough teams in it, and I'm expecting Frankston to bounce back. But even Casey now, started low on the ladder. They're starting to slowly climb up. There's no easy games.
One of those Frankston losses to Dandenong, 105-101. Great to see Sam Woosnam, who joined us early in the season. They're starting to roll at Dandenong, which is great. Now, we love our highlights on the NBL1 show. There were some great highlights across socials at the weekend. Now, if we had to have a ladder of clubs producing their content, I reckon Knox would be at the top. They are producing some serious content. And look, it's easy to do when they've got a star like Alex Robinson Jr. in their team, their import. So Knox men had 2 wins at the weekend. He had 26 points in 25 minutes in the first and then 19 points in 22. But it was just daylight robbery. Steal.
Well, they're loaded as well. You talk about talent. Adam Gibson coming off the bench there, Mason Peatling. They are a team that's going to be tough to beat, Knox, and they're starting to roll a little bit. Player of the week in the men's South Division, Dane Pinot had 21 and 11. Does what he does, and a lot of the highlights that I saw, him missing bunnies, getting offensive rebound, putting it back, doesn't matter. Still counts as a big double-double for Dane Pinot.
Must be a happy household with Dane and Georgia, both playing, not injured, both on court and doing so well.
And old man, Instagramming basically everything on the sideline. If you don't follow their old man, Brad Pinot, very enjoyable follow on Instagram.
Let's talk wildcard men's actions down in Tassie, Pete.
Well, Northwest Tasmania, the Hobart Chargers. Now, they won both games with NBA hopeful Tyrese Proctor. We know he's a Duke commit. He had 16 in each of those games. Hobart's Harry Froling gave the COE a headache. He had 22, 12 and 9 assists in a close loss. And also one beatdown of a Twitter troll that I saw starting to go around a little
Really?
bit. He did. He just got stuck into it a little bit. That's what Harry Froling does. You can't keep him down. But another good signing, Sam McDaniel for Hobart Chargers as well. So this is where I talk about the South men's competition being wide open with a lot of talent. And again, there's only one team that's going to go to that national competition, and good luck to whoever wants to fight that out.
We'll go north shortly, but Froling watch as we do every week, and now Samson's playing NBL1 too. So the four of them are all in action.
Great to see. As I said, we want to get them all on the same team in the same conference at one point. So he just decided to go to a different conference to make sure that doesn't happen. We will get it done.
Yeah.
Over the next few years, we'll get them all on the same team.
Well, I had Afrol over for dinner on Friday night, and I reckon she ate enough pasta for all four siblings.
Impossible if you have met Sam and Harry. Impossible.
I reckon it's because she's gone left. She's got a bigger appetite
And she's
now.
balling out too. It is one of the best stories.
Let's talk East men now. We'll start with our player of the week, and he's a familiar name on this show.
Well, he is. Lockie Cummings had 35 points, 8 rebounds at Albury's win over Sutherland. They are doing some serious work in Albury. Kiwi Gardner, again, this man is going to be really tough to, when you talk about MVP, Player of the Week awards. He's lighting it up for the Hawks. He had 36 points, 5 rebounds and 7 assists. Was also down at an open run at Hoop City for Melbourne United.
Ooh.
So I'm sure there'll be a couple of NBL teams having a look for his service. I wouldn't read too much into that Melbourne United wise.
Yeah.
But Kiwi Gardner, an import that's going to be
this space.
potentially on the radar because he's a bit of a bucket, and I'm sure he's going to continue to do that.
Well, speaking of buckets, they are raining at Canberra. What about those Gunners?
I mean, that's what they're doing. They're running and gunning, and they are not only just winning games, but they are destroying the competition. So good times happening for Canberra.
Let's talk East women now, and we're going to talk about Kate Seaper.
Well, North Bears continue to dominate, 23-point win over Hills, and they remain 8-1 on top of the ladder. Emily Simons had 21 points, and Kate, as you mentioned, 18 points with 8 assists as well.
Well, Lauren, it doesn't get bigger than this.
It doesn't. We talk of Goat Watch, Lauren Jackson, Lauren Nicholson in the East. LJ had 35 and 7 in Albury's win, while Loz Nicholson had 22 and 8. They sit second and third on the ladder, and they don't match up on each other. But the two Laurens is always going to be a battle in the East competition.
Speaking of Opals, congratulations to two-time Olympian Leilani Mitchell, coach of Maitland, who welcomed a baby girl last week, little baby Elle. So Leilani had a good reason not to be coaching at the weekend.
Absolutely. I tell you what, once a little girl, a couple months old, and you've got rid of your knee things anymore, Leilani, please send them my way. No idea what I'm going to be doing. Got to get everything sent my way, please.
Time to head north now, where things are heating up, and so are our superstars.
Well, they are. Goat Watch in the East, Kayla George Watch in the North, doing what she does best, had 39 points with 5 threes and 19 rebounds in Kansas' win over the Rollers.
Sydney Flames recruit Tiana Mangakahi scored 35 points with 7 assists for Northside in their win over the Sunshine Coast. Shyla Hill, back from Opal's duty, had 19 points.
Another little guard that is the future of the women's basketball circle, Maddie Rochi. She had, in 2 wins, she had 29 points, 7 assists, and then 22 and 8. Love watching the way that she goes about it on the court.
And speaking of gun guards, we're mentioning them all here. They're all in North. Steph Reid, 23 points, 9 assists and 8 rebounds for Townsville. Let's talk about the men and another gun.
Well, Jeremy Kendall had 38, 7 and 6 in Logan's 5-point win over Brisbane. Bawali Bales, 31, 12 and 7 in a win over USC. Just two guys who just love getting buckets and love getting everybody involved. That's what really I enjoy in NBL1. If you can not only get buckets, but get everybody involved, then you're taking over the competition.
Speaking of walking buckets, Tanner Krebs.
Yeah, continues to be a superstar in the NBL1. 27 and 18 rebounds for a guard against Gold Coast, and then 27 and 6 in a win over Townsville. Still a free agent. I have no doubt that he'll land somewhere in the NBL circle.
Well, someone who's landed somewhere in the NBL circles is Kouat Noi, our guest today. He's the Sydney Kings' newest recruit. He scored 31 points and 20 boards against Rockhampton, then 33 and 13 in a loss to Mackay, where his now teammate Bawali Bales, who you mentioned, is playing. From Rip City, Kouat Noi joins us. Hello, tell us that it's sunny and warm up there in Queensland.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, it is. It's beautiful right now.
Well, let's talk about the big news straight away. Signing with the Sydney Kings. How's that feel? How did that come about? And you must be excited. You said it. We're not putting the words in your mouth here. You are built for the bright lights. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I definitely am built for the bright lights. So, you know, I can't wait to get out to Sydney and, you know, just show the world, you know, what I'm about. And yeah, it's going to be a very exciting and entertaining year for me.
Well, they are the Kings coming off a championship, as we know. Talk to us about Chase Buford and I guess the role he's played in recruiting you there and what you're hoping to achieve under his coaching next NBL season.
Yeah, he really thinks I can, deliver more in this league. So, he took a chance on me. He's very excited to have me on board. And, he just wants to showcase my talent to the world. And I believe I'll be in the right system, being coached under him.
We've seen little sprinkles of how good you can be and can take over games. Unfortunately, been marred by injuries in your first couple of seasons in the NBL. How has that been to deal with both physically and mentally, trying to get back to that incredible level that you can play at?
Yeah, it's been tough, but it made me stronger. I'm a very persistent athlete. So, whatever happens, all the ups and downs, I'm still going to prevail and still work hard and still come back to my best form. And you guys haven't seen nothing yet. There's more coming, and I'm excited for the future.
I have no doubt about that. I'm excited to see that. And talk a little bit about now NBL1, the way you're playing at Rip City. Do you use this NBL1 season to build on that confidence, again, getting through where you're at now, being healthy and taking over games? Is that your goal in the NBL1 as you head towards a season with the Kings? Yeah,
definitely. When I first came to USC, I had an interview and I told them, my intentions for this year. And my full intention is, to become MVP, just dominate every game and, show everybody that, I can take over games and I can score at the highest level.
So your teammate's there with Wani, who's a championship king, but he's off to the Hawks. Has he given you a bit of insight into what you can expect at the Sydney Kings?
Yeah, he gave me a little bit, but at the same time, it was really my decision. I felt comfortable with the decision I made, and I just felt that's going to be the right system for me.
So we talk a little bit about the NBL1 because not only are you going to play well, you obviously want to win a title there. What's it going to take as a group to make this little championship run in NBL1 North?
I believe we have great leaders on our team. We've got a young core also. So, just going out there, just playing hard and playing together, I think we can pull it off. We've got the right team to take it all the way and bring a championship to USC.
Now, you talk about you want to be MVP in the competition. We know you enjoy the competition against NBL guys. Over the weekend, your now teammate, Bawali Bales, he had 31 points. But other guys you're going to come up against who are in the NBL, do you have a few words to say? You throw a bit of trash out there in the NBL1, or you just like to go about your business quietly?
No, I'm full of confidence right now. So, they can't guard me at this point. So, whoever they're going to bring in front of me, they're going to have a long night ahead of them. But, yeah, I feel like I'm dominating. I feel like nobody out there can guard me, and I'm just full of confidence at this moment.
Oh, I just love this so much. I love what you say. I love the confidence, and it's genuine. It's authentic. How much is it about vocalising how you feel and what you think? Because it kind of reminds me a little bit like Jack McVeigh, who we had on the show last year. Jack is just honest in speaking his truth. So you seem to be as well. Does it fire you up by talking this way and sort of, walking the walk?
Yeah, it's just my mindset, I feel like I'm the best player in the world. That's just how I think. So, whoever it is, NBL guys, NBA guys, I just feel like I can just dominate them, and whoever they bring in front of me, it is what it is.
I mean, it's a special thing to hear because you're starting to back it up. And once again, when you're healthy, there's no reason to not think that. There's no point playing the game if you don't think that. So that's why I love to hear that from you. I'm super excited to see you obviously dominate this NBL1 season, but then stay healthy and have a really, really good season with the Kings. And then the sky's the limit for you, I believe, and I think you believe that yourself. So, mate, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats again on the Kings contract, and I'm really excited to see what happens over the next few years in your career.
No, thank you. Appreciate you for having me. There's more to come, so just stay tuned.
Well, Pete, it's been a huge show. Loved our guest today.
Great guest. Again, if the Mt Gambier women's team managed to win the championship, what a story it's going to be from where they've come from over the last few years. Matt Sutton doing a terrific job. And Kouat Noi, 50-point game will happen in the NBL1 North. I have just a feeling he talks the talk, but he walks the walk, and love the way he goes about it. Love the way he's playing now that he's healthy.
You've thrown it down.
Thrown it down. We've thrown down challenges. Annalie Maley had the 30 rebounds when we threw that challenge out there. We didn't throw out the 50-point challenge to Keely Froling, but we'll claim it now because no one's going to go through and rewind the tape to say that we didn't. And Kouat Noi, 50 points is coming. Yeah,
I'm so inspired by him. No one can guard me. I'm the best. I'm the MVP. Try and stop me. You can't.
I am an MVP barista at home, and I will stick by that.
Enjoy the long weekend. Well, not in WA, they've already had theirs. Plenty of basketball action ahead. We'll see you next week. And don't forget to get your beanie for Fight MND.
It's one all, one shot, now the future is yours. Go!